So about 6 months ago, the American streamer Cutie Cinderella posted a tweet challenging a bunch of streamers to name 100 women. Some attempts were more successful than others, but something that struck me was that everyone was just using a spreadsheet to list all their answers. As you can imagine, the system is prone to user error, self-verification of incorrect answers, no validation to prevent repeated inputs. Surely one might think this is a game that's extremely suited to some sort of quick and easy to mock up website or whatever. So I put that thought away in my mind palace for half a year and came back to it, and no one's really done that yet. There is a website, name100women.com, but it's not really checking that the answers you put in are valid. You can just spam nonsense into it and it counts. Obviously that's not really fair on the developer. It's assuming good faith, and it doesn't mean that they can track how quickly you're coming up with new answers, but I think it would be more fun if the game didn't count it unless you were right, because games are only fun if you have to abide by strict rules and conditions in order to play. Someone say so true. So I made this, nameawoman.co.uk. Nameawoman.co.uk solves the lack of verification problem that definitely existed and that people definitely wanted to be solved. You enter a name, the website thinks about it, and then if you're right, it adds it to the list of women you've successfully named, along with a short description of who that person is. Name 100 women and you win. You get a summary screen showing how quickly you completed the list, as well as what the most and least common occupations of the people you chose were, as well as what countries they're from. So how did you do this, you might ask? And I might say, well, a magician never reveals his secrets. Thankfully, I'm a web developer today, so I can divulge my secrets extremely easily. The website uses the PHP coding language to connect to Wikidata, which is like Wikipedia, but is instead an encyclopedia of entities and their connected data points. The best part is Wikidata is licensed under CC0, meaning anyone can just grab the data and do whatever they want with it, such as make web games stolen from, inspired by popular internet trends. How it works is it passes the name you've entered to Wikidata along with a long string of text written in Sparkle, which is a query language you use to make requests of Wikidata's server. It then takes the full query, processes it, and returns a list of results. The top result gives the name of the person as well as Wikidata's summary of that person, their occupation, and their country of nationality. The website then takes this data back, displays it in the list, and adds 1 to the internal counter. Once you hit 100, it tabulates your results and gives it to you in the summary screen. Simplicity itself, you would think, except oops no. When I tried an early version of this, I typed in Madonna, meaning the musician, and got back Mary, Mother of Jesus, who is also known as Madonna in the art. Now, people are going to rightfully get quite confused by this, and more importantly means you can't actually enter Madonna the musician because it's always going to get replaced by Jesus' mum. I rumbled around on a few solutions but couldn't really land on one I quite liked. Then, after a few minutes of googling, I realized something. If we're wanting to order a list of Wikidata pages by notoriety, then we should order it by how many other pages link to it. The more pages that link to a result, the more likely that page is to be of immediate public interest, and the more likely it is that when someone's entering a name, they're referring to the person to whom that page connects. Updating the Sparkle query to use that ordering system means that if you type in Madonna now, you get the Madonna you probably intended, and if you actually meant Jesus' mum, you can still type Mary, Mother of Jesus and it counts. I'm pretty sure I worded the Sparkle language right to make sure it includes women and excludes not women, so names like Marsha P. Johnson count, provided you put that full stop after P, but names like Erika Ishii don't. If you play it and find a name that should or shouldn't work, doesn't do what you expect though, let me know. Something I haven't figured out is how to make the system sufficiently forgiving. The Marsha P. Johnson case above is a bit of an edge case. Her name is spelled with the full stop, but if someone types her name out without it, it's pretty clear that they're referring to that Marsha P. Johnson, but the game still says no. I haven't decided if this is something to fix or not. You can also share your results on Twitter. Thankfully, this doesn't need to use the Twitter API because it's basically just a URL that autofills a tweet for you, so I don't have to pay $11 squillion to enable someone to post that it took them 3 hours to name 100 women. I also have a beta version where the challenge is to name exclusively fictional women, but it is still in beta because it doesn't really work that well. There's a lot of fictional women on Wikidata who should be included but just aren't for some reason. Athena Sykes from Ace Attorney isn't included, but I think that's because she's listed on the site as video game character, and trying to get every category within a subset of fictional characters is a massive faff. There's also a button on the navbar that says something else, and I don't know why it's there.